Welcome in to episode 132 of the At the Yard podcast. I am your host, Les Lukach, today joined by just two guys, Stephen Hardesty and Vinnie Alfino, as we will recap the 2025 West Coast games that saw California put together a team to go do some battle against the likes of, Hawaii, Arizona, Nevada, Colorado, Utah, Idaho, and PNW, if I'm not mistaken.
And there was a Montana kid in there. Let's not forget
There,
the
there was a
Montana kid who
Montana kid,
made a
yes.
loud impression.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Eight teams total in this event, hosted at the beautiful Page Stadium there on the campus of Loyola Marymount, with some games on Sunday at Miracosta High School. But guys, first impressions of this event overall. Hardy, I believe this is the second one you've been to.
I didn't get to go last year.
Okay, you
Yeah,
didn't?
this was my
Okay.
first experience.
Well,
So
first experience for both of you guys at the West Coast games this year. Give us your first impressions.
yeah, for me last year I was in NorCal helping Hank with a couple events up there, so I missed it. It's a pretty cool event. I think it's really awesome, especially because coming off of the weekend before being at Super Soft. So we got to see a bunch of rising names. Now you got to see those uncommitted 26s and then a new recruiting calendar where everything seems to be slowing down. We saw some really good players out there. Like we saw some bodies, we saw some athletes. We saw two kids off of California that could absolutely fly. It was one of those. I think if this is 10 years ago, it's probably a lot of junior college kids. I think there's a lot of kids that are now going to wind up being Division I baseball players that are still uncommitted in October of their senior year and are really good players.
Yeah, I felt that there were some, guys coming in that were a little bit under the radar, especially, with a deep class, especially in 2026 and 2027. But, there's a lot of guys that put together good performances, especially on Sunday. It felt like the California guys' bats really got going and, put together some good performances. And it was just a good, well-rounded weekend for the guys, especially in California.
Yeah, so similar to most of our events, a workout day on Friday there at LMU, followed by three games. California had the night game playing, facing off against Arizona. And right out of the gate, I think what we saw with the workout was the incredible level of athleticism
Yeah.
that we had on Team California, led by London Anderson, a kid out of Bakersfield area, a guy that came to that Bakersfield Summer ID, Hardy, that you were able to identify there. And he comes out, runs a 6.45. He's 85 from the outfield. He made a play in that game in center field where he must have run, about 25, 30 yards, had his back to the infield, found the wall, made the catch. And when he came into the dugout, man, I was all over him because it was kind of almost Willie Mays style catch out in center field, man. It was awesome. That kid, you talk about athletes, that guy's a freak athlete.
Yeah, I'll be honest, when I had him at the Bakersfield event, he ran like a 6.52, I think. And part of me was like, man, was I a little fast on the trigger? Did I get it right? Well, apparently I was slow on the trigger because he went out and ran a 6.45 on the laser timing. So just dynamic athlete. And that play was Vinny and I were sitting together behind, I think this where we were doing TrackMan,
Right.
and the ball was off the bat, and both of us, I think I even said like extra bases as soon as the kid hit it, and all of a sudden you looked up and there's London and he's tracking it. And let's let's be honest, at night under the lights, it's not always an easy thing for kids to adjust and make a play. He made it look like it was routine.
Easy.
Like, I think that's what was so impressive is it looked routine to him.
Yeah. I think a lot of guys with that, without that foot speed, maybe don't even get to that ball. And he got to it, and he could have ran even more probably to track a fly ball down. He had some room left to run in that outfield. It was a really good play. Made it look easy.
Yeah. Then obviously he had a hit in that game, but then on Sunday, Vinny, it really, really came to life for him. Multiple extra base hits, a double, a triple. Made another play in the outfield. This is a guy who we've had this conversation a number of times over the past month or so about some of these players is, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, this guy's committed. This guy's going to a Power Four program, probably. Worst case, he's going to a high level mid-major program. 3, 4, 5 years ago, but now in the world of recruiting, he's an uncommitted senior out of a Bakersfield Christian High School, in kind of a area that's not highly visible to college coaches,
Yeah.
to scouts, but made a name for himself this weekend and Sunday.
Yeah.
Like I said, those at
I
bats.
wasn't there Sunday, and I was getting texts as I'm coaching a travel ball game that morning, and you guys are playing. I think it was the 10:30 game, and all of a sudden my phone's blown up. His tweets are coming out from him. I'm like, hey, like, tell me more about this kid. I'm like, I'm not there, but I'll tell you this: that kid can flat out play some baseball. Like, not just colleges. I'm started to get some MLB scouts that were asking for contact information on him. Like, it's a dynamic profile.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think an athlete like that, you bet on that profile. A lot of scouts I think are why they're willing to take a look at it. But then you throw in the hit tool that he displayed on Sunday, two doubles, a triple, line drive going gap to gap. Like he just put together an all around weekend, and it got better each day out.
Yeah, watching that triple on video was impressive.
Yeah, I mean, just his approach. It's so simple. It's rhythmic. The hands are fast. Like he gets the
Tight
ball
turns.
his own. Yeah, man, it's really impressive. And again, an uncommitted player, London Anderson out of Bakersfield Christian, is a guy that, he's the type of guy that like we do this job for, right? It's like, an unknown guy who can play baseball, takes a chance, comes to an ID event, gets invited to an invite only event where there's some gameplay involved, and proves, to us what he probably felt all along, is that, he's deserving of an opportunity beyond high school.
Very much agree.
And then another guy, another outfielder who, also ran a tick slower at 6'4". Same outfield bill. We go from 6'4" to 6'4" when we're running outfielders, man. And I just remember, one of the guys from Utah that comes over to me and is like, dude, what are you feeding these guys in California, man? Because that's ridiculous. 6'6" runner, Ryan Talley out of Royal High School, a program. Obviously, Hardy,
Yeah.
you've been really high on the last few years. We've talked a lot about these guys. Was 85 from the outfield. We had them 4.25 down the line from the right side.
Yeah.
I think we were slow, which is scary. On infield single there on Friday night, and he hit one ball. Actually, it was that ball that he hit, and there's a couple other guys in the dugout with me that weren't from California, and I said no chance. Right, and as soon as he hit the ball, it was a routine grounder to the shortstop, and I said no chance, and sure enough, he beat it by a step and a half at 4.25 down the line. But Talley was a guy that put together some good at bats, and I think the thing that impressed me the most about Talley was after every game he came up to me. He's like, "Coach, like, what do you think I can do to improve on? What can I do to get better? What can I do to earn an opportunity, in the future to keep playing this game?" And I think that stood out to me as much as his talents running and hitting and throwing, because I mean he's got a pretty big arm in the outfield.
Yeah, I only got to see well, I saw him at the ID, and then I saw him on the Friday of the event, and I got to see that infield single. The impressive thing for me with him was he scuffled a little bit that first night in the outfield, getting comfortable. We talked about the lights. He's not really a left fielder; he's more of a center fielder. And it seemed like, I was talking to him after the Sunday event. He's like, I was way more comfortable today. Like, I just kind of had to get myself settled. He's a kid that's pretty far, I wouldn't say far off the radar, but he's off the radar because he didn't really get to play a lot as a junior because they had a senior in front of him. And he's now starting to get that opportunity and show who he is. And he's hungry to know, like, hey, I haven't been the dude. So I already know that I can continue to get better. And he kind of embraces that underdog role, which I really like about him. And his batting practice, I was telling Vinny, I was like, it was so good to see because he understands who he is. He can
Right.
fly. So he's
Right.
not trying to lift the ball and elevate things. He's shooting the ball from line to line. And if he gets just the smallest crack in between two outfielders, it's an easy double, and it's probably a triple if he gets it just by them.
Yeah, there's no question he knows his game because he laid down a bunt single in the last day of the event. Like, how many guys in a showcase event are putting down a bunt
I
and trying to
love
beat it out
that.
for a
I
single, you
love
know?
that.
And he made it look easy too. Perfectly placed bunt down the third base line. And I think there was a throw, but I mean, didn't need to be a throw drawn. He was there, you know? So I love guys like that. They know their profile, they know how they play, and he knows that he can use his wheels to, get on base and, create chaos.
Yeah, it did chaos. He absolutely created. Let's pivot over to the mound, Vinny, on a couple guys that we saw on Sunday. We'll start with Emmett Maloney out of Miracosta High School. Shows up Friday for the workout. It's like, hey, can I pitch tonight? I'm like, dude, I got you slated throwing on your home yard, get you comfortable,
Yeah.
and settle in. And man, he settled in. He was really good. He kind of scuffled a tick maybe with a batter or two in his first inning, but then after that, man, he was rolling. I mean, he was dealing up to I want to say 87 on the fastball. But the off speed, the secondary was really good. Got a few strikeouts out of everything, and just weak contact all around.
Yeah, it was a good 3 innings for Emmett, and it, like you said, it got better as time went. But the curveball was 2,000 plus, straight, was getting whiff in the zone with it, was creating chase with 2 strikes. He did a good job early in the count with the curveball. It was kind of a get me over pitch, and then he kind of buried it with 2 strikes. Kind of just showed the polish he has with that breaking ball. Like you said, 86, 87 with that fastball. So really good 2 pitch mix, but I like the body with him, 6'1". I believe he's 165 pounds,
Yeah.
long levered. So I think there's definitely, some fill coming later down the line. But overall, it was a good performance for him and really gave a starter profile potential
Yeah,
in those 3 innings.
The thing I liked about him, sorry to cut you off there, was, he's talking about like how he's up at, 5:30 in the morning, he's working out before school, and like he was drinking a protein shake right after he walked off the field. And like he is very much motivated to add
Get bigger.
frame and
Yeah.
get bigger
Yeah.
and get stronger. And he was pretty damn good for us on the mound. And then another guy who was pretty good for us on the mound, Hardy, who started the first game, Broden Yamas out of
Yeah.
Palos Verdes. Palos Verdes, gosh, the
They
last
can produce some
5,
arms.
6 years, man. 4, 5, 6 years, they're pumping out arms, man. And Lamas, the left-handed pitcher there, was pretty good for us on Friday.
Yeah.
I mean, not a ton of velocity, but he can spin it. He can mix speeds. He can add. He can subtract from the fastball. Really understands his strengths and tries to pitch to those.
That's a great point. Like, he understands who he is. He's not trying to blow the fastball by guys he knows. Like, he's got a good ride to it, so he can kind of tunnel it up and then throw the breaking ball off of it. So you could really see him trying to get that fastball up towards the top of the zone or just above it. And he did not face an easy lineup. That Arizona lineup, like, those boys took some violent
Yeah.
hacks. They hit some balls really hard in BP, and he did a really good job of finding ways to get outs, making pitches. Yeah, he did get hit a couple times, but that's sometimes what you want to see because he wasn't scared after that. Like, okay,
Yeah.
that guy got to one. Here we go. I'm going to come back after the next guy. Like, there was some competitiveness. We talked about like that FU. He's got a little bit of that. Like, all right, fine, you got a hit. Here we go. Here's the next guy. Let's go try to get an out. I know, Vinny, you really liked him too.
Yeah, I like the response that he had,
Yeah.
like, I think it's just as important for a coach to see the success of a guy, but it's also important you get to hit around a little bit. How do you bear down and respond? And I thought he did a good job of that. And, that goes a long way too for, recruiters who are looking at, potential guys for their program.
Yeah, bigger frame on him as well. Like, I don't think that frame's done maturing either.
Yeah.
Like another guy who you can project, to add
Yeah.
another 10, 15 pounds, maybe grow another inch or two. Obviously being from the left side is
I
a
was
little
going to say that.
And yeah, that plays.
Never hurts to be from that left
Yeah.
side.
right, a little bit of an advantage for him there too. So, good name to kind of follow and write down, as we head into the spring, because there's going to be some eyes at that program this spring now with
Yeah.
Von Skoyak there, and obviously Yamas there, and they've got some hitters as well. So Palos Verdes again continues to just produce quality arms every single year, it seems like. But let's pivot back out to the outfield. A guy, obviously, the three of us are really familiar with after having had him with us in Georgia for the senior future games. Colton Booterbaugh out of Highland. Obviously a guy we really liked, during the summer. We, liked him so much. We took him to senior future games, performed really well out there. And I'll give Colton this. He didn't have his best weekend offensively, but two things that really stood out to me and really impressed me was he didn't let that impact his defense at all.
Mhm.
And B, he didn't change. Like, he didn't
Yeah.
panic. He didn't try to do something different. He just maintained his process, and it paid off on Sunday in the last game with a pair of knocks and, one of them being a double. But he didn't pivot, right? He
Yeah.
walked back to the dugout on one. I think I want to say it was either a strikeout or a ground out. He was pissed off, and rightfully so, right? Like, you get frustrated,
Yeah.
and so that's okay. But he didn't change his approach. He didn't change his plan, and most importantly, he didn't let it impact his defense, and that speaks volumes to me about him.
Yeah, I think, kids, if you don't understand how much we pay attention to things when we're at these events, what Les just said is exactly what Colton texted me afterwards on Sunday. He's thanking me for the event, and I kind of asked him how it went, and it's exactly what Les said. He's like, I did not have my best weekend. I wasn't seeing the ball very well. I just tried to take a deep breath today and just say, hey, I've been working at this for 10 years. I'm a pretty good player. Let's stick with it. Things are going to go my way. And all of a sudden, I got a couple knocks. So, for those of you that don't understand how much coaches and evaluators and people like us pay attention to everything you're doing, that ability to compete through what was not his best weekend. Like, this is a kid that hit almost 400 in high school. He had multiple knocks at senior future games. He's a very good player. He did not let that get to him. And you said it, like, he played the best defense I've seen him play in the 3 events that we've had. And that was just on that one night. And the one thing we were talking about is he had a hamstring injury right at the beginning of the summer, and he's just slowly starting to get that leg back under him again. And he mentioned that he's like, I felt the best I felt running around in the outfield in a long time because I felt like I could go get a ball without thinking about my hamstring anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought his batting practice, I thought his best swings were to the backside during
Yeah.
BP, and that was the results he had on Sunday. He went backside double, line drive to right center. So I think he also he knew it wasn't the best weekend, but just kept his approach simple. Like, I'm just gonna let the ball get deep, go the other way, and that's where he found success on batting practice on Friday, and it carried over into Sunday. So I was happy he was able to close out on a high note.
Made a pretty nice play in center field on Sunday,
Yeah.
too, going to his right, ranging pretty far to his right, and didn't get extended on it, but he kind of ran through the ball. But just to get there was pretty impressive, especially when you consider the hamstring, right? And
Right.
so,
Yeah.
again, not allowing the lack of production at the plate to impact him defensively was something that was really impressive. And let's move on here. We'll go it now to the infielders. A guy who I wasn't very familiar with, who now I am absolutely a huge fan of, and that's our boy Trevor Chang out of Calabasas, shortstop, kind of long, wiry frame, pretty lean still, some projection to the
Yeah.
frame.
Yeah.
But man, like it clicked for him on Sunday at
On
the
Sunday.
plate. Yeah,
Good.
like he was as hot a hitter as we had on Sunday over those 2 games. And it's important to note, I mean, I know, Hardy, you weren't there, but these guys, I want to say, got 8, 9 at bats on Sunday alone, Vinny. I mean, somewhere in
Yeah.
that 7 to
And I
9.
think they got 3 or 4 on that Friday night game.
Yeah, so I mean,
Yeah.
we're talking 12, 13 at bats over the course of 3 games, and that Sunday everyone was hitting.
Yeah.
But Trevor, man, I mean, he was hitting to the backside, he's hitting to the pull side, he's hitting to the gaps, extra base hits, singles, you name it. Like, he seemingly was doing everything except for hitting it out of the yard on Sunday, Vinny. And I mean, that was pretty damn impressive.
Yeah, Trevor's at bats just got better and better each week, each game out. And like you said, Sunday was squaring up the baseball. He had 2 doubles to left center, goes to right center for a base hit. but he was working the count more. It seemed like he was being a little more patient at the plate, letting the ball get, into his zone. And, like you said, those doubles, I think later could potentially be home runs because there is, I think, more frame and fill coming to that body. And I like it. It's wiry, it's projectable, 6.86 runner. It was a really impressive finish to the weekend for Trevor, and he also moved around on the dirt a little bit and played, multiple positions for us and looked good on the infield too.
Yeah, and Hardy, like Vinny just said, third, short, second, it didn't really
Yeah, yeah,
matter. He was comfortable where he was at. I mean, right now the infield velo is 78, but again, you can dream on this frame, and
yeah,
you could just see that frame adding 25 pounds here in the next 3-4 years. He's only a 27, which
yep.
makes it all the more impressive. What was your takeaway from Chang from this weekend?
I think Trevor's finally starting to get his confidence. Like he's coming from Calabasas, which he's following in the footsteps of Phoenix Call, who's now playing the middle infield at UCLA, and he's following in the footsteps of Nate Castellone, who's one of my favorite all-time players, who started at shortstop at Cal Poly as a freshman. And so Trevor takes over as a sophomore after those two guys, and it's kind of like, oh man, there's a lot of pressure on me to follow up to this. And I
Yeah.
saw him in the spring, and you could see a little bit of that pressure wearing on him. Where this summer and watching him on that workout day in that first game, like his confidence is starting to show. Like he's got a bounce in his step, he's got him like his actions are confident, his swing is confident. Like he's starting to understand that I'm the next really good Calabasas middle infielder that's going to follow up on those first two guys.
Yeah. And Vinny, let's bounce back to Cody Reynolds, the left-handed pitcher out of Cathedral. We didn't touch on him when we were
Hmm.
discussing pitchers here, but another guy from the left side who throws multiple
Yeah.
pitches for strikes, bigger body, bigger frame. Who when he cleans that up a tick and then adds more strength, has a chance to be pretty special for Cathedral.
Yeah, 100%. Cody came in, was up to 85 with the fastball, was 2,300 plus spin with the fastball, arm side run and sink. Like you said, three pitch mix, was able to get the slider over for a strike. I really liked the changeup. It was, you know, really like an advanced version of the sink that we saw with the fastball. Good change of speeds there around 76. But I like the body and the frame. Obviously, like we talked about before, like left-handed pitchers, a lot of coaches could use that, and there's a big frame there at 6 foot, 194. I think that frame can still get stronger and maybe see the velocity tick up more for him. But like, yeah, he a left-handed pitcher in San Diego. I think he has a chance to be, really good. And 85 miles an hour was, a good sight to see because there's arm side run and sync with that pitch as well.
Yeah, second event now for Reynolds where he's left an indelible impression. That's for sure. We had him at the
Yeah.
state games, if I'm not mistaken, and he was pretty darn good there too. So, hopping back to the infield, another 2027 in Stafford Johnson. Now, this guy came to this event really, really kind of highly regarded by a lot of people out in that Temecula area. Hit over 400 for Temecula Valley last year as a sophomore. But man, this kid not only can hit, but dude, he can pick it at
Yeah.
shortstop. And the left-handed bat is really impressive. I don't know what it is about left-handed hitting shortstops in that Temecula area. We talked a lot about Tice Johnson last week, and
Yeah.
now Stafford Johnson, Tice. Help me out here, Tice.
Stafford Johnson.
Stafford
Stafford
Johnson.
Johnson.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
excuse me. Uh, we talked a lot about Tice last week. Now,
Stafford. Yeah.
obviously Stafford this week, but um, left-handed hitting shortstops out in that Temecula area. But Stafford is a guy that has a chance to be, pretty darn special in and of his own right.
Vinny, take him first because I know you also saw him in the springtime too.
Yeah. So I did see Stafford in the spring, and he was pitched very, very carefully. I think he walked in four at bats. I think he had three walks, and you could see that he was the main threat in a really good lineup to have some really good hitters. But hit 450 this year, and rightfully so. That's what's going to make you a main threat in the lineup. But I like the swing. It's really line drive heavy. He can go the other way. Was really good with two strikes both on Friday and Sunday. Had two strike hits. And, I just love the profile with him. I think that frame's going to continue to get bigger, and that body 86 across the infield, he's going to stick at shortstop, in my opinion. He can pick it. He has the arm and the range, 7'2", 660. So well-rounded profile. And that hit tool, I think, is, a real thing for him for sure.
Yeah, I really like Stafford. He led off for us. His first at bat, he gets down 2 strikes.
Yep.
It's a good arm thrown for Arizona. It was upper 80s, had some movement to it, spun a nice breaking ball. He spoiled a couple pitches, and then he gets a pitch out over the plate, not elevated. He stays on it, and I think you said it, like he understands who he is. He smokes a one hopper right back up the middle for a 2 strike single, and that just kind of announced what he was going to do for the rest of the weekend. He had 2 more really good at bats that night. I think he picked up another knock. He had another 2 strike ball that he put in play. Just for a kid that I'll be honest, didn't know anything about coming into this event. And then watching him, I'm like, I really like that.
Yeah, and I think the thing that impressed me, in addition to what you guys just described, was like he's just a gamer, right? Like he
Yeah.
wants to
Yeah.
play. Like, hey, like where are we at in the order? Like when do I come up? Like how many, but not in an arrogant
No.
way or in a selfish way. It's like, dude, like, I want to lock in, right? Like he's the guy when we're playing at LMU, you got the on deck hitter, you got the in the hole hitter, and he's the next guy after in the hole hitter, and he's got his helmet, his bat, and his helmet on and his bat in his hands, and he's already like, getting his timing down, which is impressive. He's very vocal guy when it comes to coming back in the dugout, letting the next hitters know, okay, like, hey, the fastball does this, does that, this. So like that guy is locked in, man. Quality player out of Temecula Valley High School. Stafford Johnson, again, left-handed hitting shortstops. Those guys are at a premium.
We love those. We love those left-handed hitting field throws.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's pivot to another infielder here. Guy we had at the preseason All-State out at Corona High School. Played infield for us, pitched for us. And 𝐾𝐸𝐿 out of Riverside Poly. I was impressed, man. Like I was impressed with his workout. I was impressed with his hitting on the weekend. I was more impressed with his pitching this time around versus the preseason All-State because, Vinny, that splitter on Sunday, I was over, near the TrackMan table next to the dugout for PNW. Those guys were walking into the dugout like, dude, like you can't see it. Like it's gone, right? That splitter was lights out for him. And I remember walking over to the dugout, our dugout, and saying, dude, they can't see your splitter. He's like, well, I'm going to keep throwing it. Sure enough, he kept throwing it. And like, these guys are just baffled by this splitter. 𝐾𝐸𝐿 out of Riverside Poly, Vinny.
Yeah. So I was behind, in center field filming his pitching, and the ball, it just disappeared. Bottom just fell out, from it. And he was getting a lot of uncomfortable swings with it. He could throw it early in the count. He could throw it with 2 strikes. Also has a slider and a changeup. So was throwing 4 pitches. He was up. Sorry, he had the curveball and the slider. So 4 pitches, and then was up to 85 with the fastball too. So it's a smaller frame, but I liked him on the mound. And his last at bat, he smoked the ball to center field too, and it got caught. And he came in the dugout. He's like, "Man, I can't buy a hit," but I think he barreled 3 balls on the weekend too. So, like the swing, you can see that there's two-way potential there. And I think he's another guy like Stafford. He's kind of just a gamer, and he wants to be in the game. He's like, "Give me the bat in my hands. I want to pitch." Um, he wanted to pitch a third inning because we weren't going to play that full seventh inning. He's like, I can keep pitching." He just wants to be on the field all the time, and I thought he was a joy to be around, and he had all around good weekend both on the mound and at the plate.
Yeah, and then defensively, Hardy, I mean,
yeah, that's what I really
we
liked.
saw him, like I said, the preseason All-State, little unsure, like, okay, can he stay on the left side or is he more of a second baseman? But I think this weekend he demonstrated that he's got the tools to stay on the left side somewhere.
Yeah, I was hitting the fungos again during the defensive portion, and I really kind of tried to dial in on our guys and move them around, hit some soft, hit some hard at him, get a little different look at him. And he looked really comfortable going any direction. And we make everybody work out at shortstop. And sometimes when you're a second baseman, third baseman who doesn't maybe necessarily always play short, you can get a little uncomfortable over there, and he
Mhm.
didn't show that to me at all. And then he made two plays in that Friday night game. I specifically remember one going to his glove side where he picked it, and it was not an easy pick. It was an in-betweener. I don't know if he got stuck on the read or if the ball had more topspin on it than he thought, but he just kind of threw the glove at it, picked it, and it was within two steps out of his hand and threw a strike to first. And it was like, that's really good. Like, he's got a chance to stick at third. I think the arm's got to get a tick stronger, but the kid's 17 years old. He's going to gain some more strength. I think sometimes we nitpick that arm strength, and it's like
Yeah.
he's going to throw harder in a year. He's going to fill out more. And I really liked, like, that was the thing that stood out for me, for me with him, well, I'm talking too fast, the defense. I really liked the way he moved defensively.
Yeah, he's the type of guy you see on, like a Cal Poly Pomona team that makes a deep
Yeah.
run, right? Like
Yeah.
or an APU team, like those types of teams that make deep runs are littered with players like that.
He steals runs from other teams because he can play defense so well.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really well put. Let's move behind the dish real quick. Lucas Milazzo, obviously out of Torrey Pines High School, guy you saw plenty of in the spring there, Vinny. But Milazzo, I thought, was as good as I've seen him defensively.
Yep.
Another guy who kind of couldn't buy a break at the plate until that Sunday, that last game on Sunday. Then he gets domed in the head with a fastball. Had to bring him out of the game for a few innings just to make sure he was okay. But he kind of put it together there late. He squared up a few balls, a couple of hits, but defensively, I thought that was as good as I've seen him. He caught a lot this weekend for us, but I thought that was as good as I've seen him behind the plate.
Yeah, what jumped out at me immediately from the weekend was he looked bigger and stronger to me, and then I went back and looked, and he put on 10 pounds since the state games. He was 168, now he's 177,
Interesting.
and I thought his BP was really good on Friday.
Yeah.
Although we had a couple guys that had good BP on Friday, but he had really good batting practice, was going
Yeah.
gap to gap, line drive swing, and then he looked the most comfortable I've seen him behind the plate. He was handling the pitchers really well, especially stealing strikes, was getting to the low ball really well. Catch and throw was, definitely an improvement, but I just like the kind of way he was just moving behind the plate, was blocking. It was kind of just a wall back there. But yeah, it was kind of tough break getting, that fastball, to the helmet, but I was happy he was able to, square up a baseball. But just the profile is trending in the right direction, up to, 177 pounds now, which is a good profile for a backstop.
Yeah, and it looks like the bulk of that is in the lower half too. Like
Yeah.
he's been hitting the
Yeah.
squat rack for
Yeah.
sure, right?
100%.
From when we saw him at state games to now. But Hardy, your take on Milazzo after seeing him obviously in the workout and then in that one game there at LMU.
Yeah, I remember I think we had him at the San Diego Summer
We
ID,
did.
and the
Yeah.
swing was decent. It was, there was something there, but it just hadn't quite clicked yet. And kind of the same thing at the state games. Like, it looked good, but it just hadn't clicked yet. And then his BP, like, I remember writing on my notes, intent. Like, the intent looked more aggressive. There was more violence. There was more bat speed. It was a better turn. So now hearing what you're saying, Vinny, that he's packed on 10 pounds
Mhm.
in that last, I think it's probably 2 months between
2 months.
state games to now, like, that showed up in how he's swinging the bat. And he hit some baseballs really hard, and he hit them really hard consistently.
Mhm.
So if you're talking about a guy that continues to get better defensively at a premium spot, and he's starting to figure out how to hit, like, that's a really intriguing profile going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Back to the infield at a La Mirada High School, Jesse Colon. Again, we moved these guys around third base, second base, shortstop. Some of them played, some innings at first, just to kind of get a feel for their abilities and their overall athleticism. And Cologne is a man of very few words, but he really another guy who really put it together on Sunday. 79 miles from the infield velocity. His max exit velo of 94. He ran a 7.19. Pretty athletic guy who is got a chance, I think, on the infield, maybe projects more so as a second baseman given the size. But he's really, really instinctive, obviously, and just really knows how to play the game, which is what you would expect from a guy from La Mirada. But go for it, Vinny. Cologne, there again, put together a really good day on Sunday.
Yeah, I thought he was, right up there with Chang in terms of the best hitters we had on the last day of the event. And the swing's a little unorthodox with the, very slow, toe tap stride, but he obviously used that as a rhythmic tool for him and it works. He was able to, I think he worked a 12 pitch at bat in his last AB, just fighting off pitches. I think he fouled off maybe 5 or 6, and then he went backside for a double. So, like, the competitiveness is there in the box. He works ABs. And I believe he put together 4 hits on the weekend, which might have been tied for a team lead for California. So all around good weekend. And, he was one of the guys that played all 4 infield positions across the weekend too. So, that was good seeing him, play multiple spots. But because of the profile, I think second base is, long term for him. But, I love the competitiveness that he has in the batter's box.
Made that great catch at first,
At
right? Where
first
he
base too on the pop up. Yeah.
kind of did one of these
Yeah.
over the
Yeah.
shoulder, made the catcher. That was
Yeah.
like, I mean, again, these guys aren't first basemen,
Right.
and
Just instinct. Their instinct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and we had a few plays at first base made by these guys, which was really, really impressive. Hardy, your takeaway on Cologne there out of La Mirada?
Hitters hit. Like, his BP was one of the more impressive ones
Yeah.
for consistency. It was just barrel after barrel. And again, it's another kid that I didn't really know a lot about coming into the event. So it was kind of like, okay, what's this kid going to show? Like, his defense was sound. It's not flashy, but the hands are consistent. The feet are on time. He throws accurately. It's not a ton of arm strength, like you said. It's probably a second base profile. I kind of threw this into the workout quick hits because he made that for the impressiveness of his BP. Like, gives me a little Jose Altuve vibes. Like, it's a little unorthodox. It's smaller, it's compact, it's got a little strength to it, and there's a real barrel awareness. Like, he was on the barrel during the game. 2 knocks on that Friday. He obviously picked up 2 more on Sunday. He worked at bats. It's like, if you can get a little more intent and a little more aggressiveness out of that lower half, maybe unlock some power. And there's a guy that can do something at the bottom end of a college lineup, playing second and giving you some thump from the right hand side. Like, I like what he does in the box.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to see him, playing for La Mirada this year. See where he kind of fits in there,
Yeah.
Into the not only their defensive rotation but into their lineup as well, because there's some talent there.
Yeah.
And like you said, if he can unlock a couple of things, like it could be a breakout year for him, for sure. Speaking and last but certainly not least, speaking of guys that have broken out in a big way, the calendar year of 2025, heck, even going back to our tournament last summer,
Yeah.
for Wyland Rothschafer out of Costa Mesa High School, guys, and you're going to excuse me for a second because I'm going to take over here for a minute, but like, this is a guy we've talked about multiple guys here where 3-4 years ago, this guy's a power 4 commit as a sophomore.
Yeah.
This is a guy that plays the game right. He can play multiple positions. He's an incredible human being. And it quite frankly, like it pisses me off for him. And it just pisses me off for where we are in college baseball recruiting, that this guy doesn't have an opportunity to play at the next level because he does everything right. Like, he played shortstop, made that backhand play in the 5-5 hole and threw the guy out by a step. He made an incredible play at first base where, he's diving to his right towards the line, to his left towards the line.
Yeah.
Pitt gets up, runs over, makes the tag. Made a
On
play
a dive. Yeah.
on a
Dives
dive.
at first base. Yeah.
Makes a diving play towards the line at third base, throws the guy out at first, turns the double play with ease from second base, hit, showed some power. We've seen the power. We saw the power at state games where he one-hopped the wall in left field, has a guy on second base with less than 2 outs, hits it to the right side, moves the guy over. Like he does. Oh, and by the way, he hops on the mound. He's up to 80.
Yeah.
He's got a wicked slider that had more whips than any pitch we saw this weekend.
Let's just slide that in there real quick.
Yeah.
I like that.
Right. And it's like it makes me angry that a guy like that doesn't have an opportunity yet to play college baseball. But what I love about it is, he made a decision to stay at Costa Mesa and play with his buddies that he grew up with instead of going to a bigger, more recognizable program where absolutely by now he would have that opportunity. So you guys know how fond I am of Wyland Rothshafer. I know both of you guys are equally as fond of this guy. But it's a guy who, again, a 6'8" runner who could play every position on the dirt, as he showed this weekend playing first. Go ahead, take it away. Like I'm at a loss for words as to why he hasn't had that opportunity.
Pillar of consistency. Like I remember, and you said the tournament, like you walked over to me, this was 2024 at the West Coast program invite and said, "Hey, what do you think of that shortstop for Stacked?" And I laughed and I'm like, that's the only kid's name that I wrote down from the Stacked team. And you're like, really? I was like, he's really good. I'm like, I have no idea who he is. Like they didn't have a roster. I couldn't figure out who he is. And you're like, what's Wyland Rothshafer? And I'm like, well, that kid's really good. And then he has a dynamite junior season at Costa Mesa. He's probably one of the best infielders at state games. Then he comes out and he dominates this. Like you walked up to me after the infield workout where I hit fungos and you're like, "Hey, who was the best infielder?" I'm like, looked at you like, "Who do you think it was?"
Right.
Yeah.
And he laughs and he goes, "Wyland." I was like, he's got the best feet. He's got the best hands. He's got arm strength. He's got accuracy. And then he goes and takes beat. It's just I didn't want to talk a lot on him because I knew you were going to go because this is the guy you really like. And I'm like, ditto to what Les said. And I put this a lot of times. I'll tweet over kids when they tag me in something. A college program is going to be very, very happy when they pull the trigger on him and he shows up on campus and they're going to go, "This was one of the best moves we made."
Totally. I was talking. Go ahead, Ben. Go ahead.
Yeah. I was going to say the same thing. I quote tweeted something from the weekend on both of his diving plays, and I said the same thing. College program is going to be very happy when he gets picked up. But on top of all of the good things he does on the field, he might be the most humble player that I've been around since I took this job in January. Like he's just the nicest guy, and he just loves being on a baseball field. And there's not a level of cockiness or being overly confident that when you're around him. He's humble and he plays the game the right way.
Yeah, absolutely. I've had conversations with 5 college coaches since last weekend on different levels, and it's but like, dude, okay, like you're wasting my time. Like, I mean, you guys know how I feel about this. Like I've been doing this too long to, put my stamp on a kid that I don't believe is what I believe he is. And it's like some of these college coaches like just don't seem to understand that. But it's like, but what? Like, well, his size. Okay, Matt McClain. Like he's bigger than
But
Matt.
you're going to watch him beat you for 4 years when somebody else takes him.
Right. That guy, right. That guy is a first round pick 2 times. Like, don't tell me size because I've got an answer for you, right? Like, don't tell me
arm strength. Like, there's a kid out there that's throwing strikes.
Right. Yeah. And it's like it's so frustrating. And I feel for the kid because I'm certain an opportunity is going to come, whether that's at a JUCO or at a 4-year school. An opportunity is going to come because there's, like you just said, Hardy, there's going to be a lot of college coaches in 4 years from now and be like,
I'm gonna regret it.
Like what were we doing? Right? Like what that guy just
Rothshafer killed us.
That guy
Rothshafer killed us
this weekend. Yeah. Why did we not recruit that guy? Right? And it's like I don't know, man. It's just obviously we get really passionate about this when we believe in kids, but
there's a guy managing a big league team right now who kind of got the same thing done to him coming out of high school in Stephen Vo, where it was like, oh, well, the body looks funny. Oh, he's playing against, smaller schools in the Central Valley. And he goes to Azusa, and I played against him and I coached against him. And it's the only person that we've ever decided to intentionally walk 3 times with the bases loaded because it was like, let's give up 1 instead of 3 or 4 because he was so good.
Yeah.
I mean, he got drafted out of Azusa as a junior, and that doesn't happen out of NAIA programs. And Wyland reminds me, like, I'm not saying he's going to be a big leaguer and he's going to play, 10 years in the big leagues and manage, but it reminds me of the same thing. Everybody's looking for that but or that and or
Yeah.
what's the reasons. Like, stop overthinking this. The kid can play baseball. Like, if a kid can
Yeah.
play baseball, isn't that what we're still doing? Like, it's
Right.
my complaint on training videos. Like, that's cool. Like, it looks great in training, but if it's not applicable to helping them have success in the game, then what the hell are we doing?
Yeah. And all he does is be successful in the game. Like
Yeah.
each live look I've had, and I know you guys have said success has been everything for him, but he's just put on a good performance each time out. And
It's why we always
the
temper the
program's going to be
workout
really
looks.
happy. Yeah. The
Like,
program's
we
going to be really
temper the
happy eventually.
yeah, we temper the workout looks like, oh, that guy's really athletic and he does a lot of things well, but we always are like, well, let's see it in the game. And then the game backs it up. Like,
Yeah.
Island doesn't both. It's out like you told me when you told me he ran a 6'8", I was like, oh, all right. Like, yeah. So he's not just really athletic when you watch him move around. He really is athletic.
Right.
Mhm.
Right. It's again just a little mind blowing, but I'm sure the opportunity will come
Yeah.
for Wyland at some point, hopefully some point soon. And again, I think the level of competition that he plays against during the high school season might be the knock, but it's like, dude, that kid had the chance to go to a different school, but chose to stay at his home school with his buddies, like play with the kids that he grew up with. And I think, to me at least, like that sort of loyalty, like that speaks volumes, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, it
And
tells
in a
me,
transfer portal era, doesn't that kind of make you a little like, oh, if he comes
right,
here and he's really good, he might not
Might
bounce on
stay.
us. He
right,
might stay here and be a 4-year dude at this school.
right, right. So anyway, that's the spiel on Wyman Rod Schaefer there. So thanks guys for appeasing me on that one. But that'll wrap it up here for the 2025 West Coast Games Team California recap. And guys, any final words on that, on the event, on the team, on the players?
I think it just continues to show how much talent is in California and that there are so many under the radar kids that are still in that, like, kids don't panic. Like, if you're a 2026, you're uncommitted, like, you're going to have your opportunity. We just waxed about Wyland for a while. That kid's going to play college baseball. Like, it's just a matter of he's not there yet, but I just continue to be impressed with the kids from all over the place that we get to see.
Yeah, all in all, I was happy the guys that we had got a lot of at bats, and some of the guys that maybe struggled early were able to, continue to get live looks and finish out on a good note. I think for the most part, every guy we had ended on a really good note.
Yeah, the last two games, man, the California bats were hot.
They were hot. Yeah.
That was fun to see. All right, well, for Vinny and for Hardy, I'm Les. Thank you all for listening and watching. And until next time, we will see you at the yard.